I'm going to go full on build my own storyline around this album, and you can come with me if you want. This is wonderful. I really like this. Oh, this is horrendous. I'm freaking out. Storytelling can be done in a million different ways. And just because this is a very alternative way of storytelling doesn't make it any less valid. Hello, welcome to this video. My name's Dan, aka Lucen. I'm a singer-songwriter, and today I'm going to be reacting to Ethel Cain's brand new album, EP, whatever. It's called Perverts. So let's go. Happy New Year, everyone. Yay. It's 2025. Welcome back. Congratulations on doing another year. We've waited quite a long time for new Ethel Cain music. I mean, I'm sure like 90% of you will have seen my Preacher's Daughter reaction. Blew my mind. One of my favorite albums in the last few years. That year, I remember American Teenager was my top played song on Spotify. I cried a lot listening to that album. And so we've waited quite a long time for a follow-up. And I've been hearing a few rumblings about this album, EP, whatever it is, that it's quite different. And so I'm not sure what to expect. I mean, I heard the Punisher song. I did a little reaction to that via TikTok and YouTube Shorts, which is something I'm trying to do more of, doing single song reactions and stuff in the kind of short form content style. So yeah, keep an eye out for those. But yeah, other than that, haven't heard anything, don't really know much about it. So yeah, I know it's bloody long, but it's only 9 songs. So it's going to be a bit more of a slow reaction, I guess. It's going to be a bit more of a vibey time today. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Hi. I love going through songs and doing a reaction, but also analysis, that's kind of my vibe. And yeah, so if you enjoy it, then make sure to subscribe and check out all my other reactions. And if you really enjoy it, then you can actually watch my reactions with no cuts in any of the songs or anything over on Patreon. And because it's 2025, it's a new year, it's a new me, there's actually been a few updates over on Patreon, including uncut reactions to new songs and music videos on the Crying Club tier, the first tier. And on the second tier, on the Weeping Wendy's, a bonus exclusive album reaction every single month, which is actually chosen by you lot. Because the thing is that there's so many albums that I want to react to, but I would be risking my YouTube algorithm, whatever. You have to play the game on YouTube. And so I've decided to keep those exclusive to Patreon and give patrons another extra bonus for kind of helping me out on my career. But yeah, so if you want to join Patreon, the link is in the description. You can do song requests and stuff on there as well, album requests too, and all those videos are also exclusive Patreon videos too. So there's actually loads and loads of bonus content on there, and the video version of my podcast as well. It's loads of stuff. So yeah, so make sure to click the link in the description if you want to support me over on Patreon. Cool. Let's have a look, shall we? Perverts. Perverted. Song number 1, this is Perverts. Perverts. Ooh. Very roomy, very atmospheric. Something's coming. Ooh. It's kind of discordant as well, isn't it? No idea what the lyrics are. Ooh, fun. That's kind of gorgeous, actually, hey? Really beautiful sounds in the center of something quite kind of dark, dirty. Okay. It's so atmospheric. I already feel quite enveloped in the world. It's kind of giving me like Fallout vibes. Do you know what I mean? The TV show and the game, where it's kind of this retro aesthetic, but it's kind of post-apocalyptic. Post-apocalyptic. There's an intercepted signal. So I'm getting experimental ambient mood music being the vibe of this. Thunder. There's a lot of tension in this. It's kind of cinematic in its approach, Having unintelligible sounds and unintelligible voices is a really good way to kind of really set you on edge, Kind of has an alien feeling to it for me, post-apocalyptic wasteland. Maybe the aliens caused it, maybe they're trying to make contact. Do you know what I mean? It's giving me all those vibes. Very Area 51 core. Something very hypnotic about this. Heaven. It almost sounds like a robot that's been left out of heaven and is left to rot in this like wasteland. Heaven, are you there? Still trying to get to heaven. Yeah, it's so cinematic, yeah. You could really like sense this like scoring a movie like War of the Worlds or something, you know. I love the idea of like having melodies and stuff that are so lost within the sound, but you can hear just touches of them. It's almost like sounds of a bygone era, you know. I think that's why it's given me so much like post-apocalyptic. It's like the song at the beginning, the you're getting more of it now, hidden moments of sound, the unintelligible voices, because it's so buried within the atmosphere. But it's almost like hinting at something that used to be, you know? That really took me off guard.
It's happening to everybody.
What? Oh, okay. Now we're on the next song. Cool. I'm glad I picked up my phone when I did, because I wouldn't have known. Okay, so we've got powerful, atmospheric, cinematic, ambient music. Certainly like an interesting turn. The vibes it was giving me was kind of unintelligible stuff, things that are slightly hidden, and it kind of, therefore, it's very intriguing, very mysterious. You're like, what is going on? Where are we? What are they saying? What is Ethel trying to communicate to us through this music? And for me, it's like, yeah, like communication of like a bygone era, things that have changed. Maybe kind of looking forward into the future, like picturing a future that is darker, where these little tidbits of what our society was are still kind of sprinkled throughout, but ultimately hidden under all the dust and the soot and the dirt, you know? That's really what that opening song was giving me. I'm going to go full on, like, build my own storyline around this album, and you can come with me if you want. Do you remember I did my... Do you remember for my Preacher's Daughter reaction, I literally just built up my whole narrative. And like everyone in the comments was like, it's really sweet that you came up with this whole thing, but there's actually a story that you're not following. And it involved getting eaten, apparently, which I still like stresses me out thinking about it. So I just prefer to think about the songs my way. But yes, I'm going to continue doing the same thing with this one. I'm just going to build up my own storyline. And I love that it's going to be very, very open to interpretation. So I'm excited for that. That's what I love doing. It's creative. Haha. Okay. Let's have a look at the lyrics. So, nearer, my God, to thee, nearer to thee, thought it be a cross that raiseth me. Still, all my songs shall be nearer, my God, to thee, nearer, my God, to thee. Heaven has forsaken the masturbator. Ooh, great. No one you know is a good person. Fast, reckless driving often leads to slow, sad music. So there's certainly like, okay, so this idea of perverts, obviously it's very strongly connected to religion. Maybe she's going to be dissecting the relationship between sex and religion and like looking at the ways in which it's kind of destroyed elements of our modern society and destroyed elements of our modern sex lives. You know, the fact that like masturbation was seen as a sin in the olden times, still that kind of taboo lives on in the modern day and has kind of affected our society. And so in a way, you could kind of see our modern society as a post-apocalyptic version of maybe what was intended for us as human beings on this planet, you know, in terms of sex. Yeah. Even the idea of someone being called a pervert, it's like, what even is that? You know, it's crossing certain social and sexual taboos, and where the line is drawn is very different now to how it was in the dawn of Christianity, you know? And so there's kind of, I guess there's an exploration of that grey area, right? Yeah, fascinating. Next one, I did hear this one before because I did a little TikTok about it, but let's listen to it again in the flow of the album. This is Punish. Those little like squeaking sounds almost sound like little sighs, don't they? Something very sad about them.
Whatever's wrong with me to bed, nature chews on me.
Whatever's wrong with me, I take to bed. Punished by love. Yeah, it's continuing that idea of like being punished by society for certain urges. I think that could be what the theme of this album's about, is an exploration of like our society's view on sex and how that's so damaged from Christianity, I think.
He was a natural
She's so good at the kind of slow tension. I mean, one of my favourite songs from her is House in Nebraska, and it seems to be kind of taking the pace of House in Nebraska, but almost even elongating it even more, you know? I do love the slow build in this one. Just the way it just kind of envelops you in this like distortion, you know? And the visuals for this one. Yeah, I did the music video reaction for TikTok, and the visuals just like took it really down that dark path, you know? The kind of old, falling apart house, the rotting, moldy carpets, the hidden figures in different rooms, all those kinds of things, like really just amped that all up. Ooh, and then it powers on through. Loving the like constant nature of this album. I love an album that flows from one into another, just becomes one continuous piece, which works quite well with an ambient style of music. Yeah, really cool. I like how that one kind of takes the idea of this kind of ambient, slow build, open form of sound, but kind of put like a melody in it that has a little bit more something to grasp onto. You know, whatever is wrong with me, I will take to bed. I give in so easy, nature chews on me. Little death like lead, poisonous and heavy. It has always been this way. I'm punished by love. In the morning, I will mar myself again. Shame is sharp and my skin gives so easy. They made me leave, but they made me leave. I'm punished by love. Whatever's wrong with me, I will take to bed. Really like sticks out as like almost like a psychological indictment of modern sex drive. Everything that's like wrong with me, trauma-wise, your history of like traumas with sex, stay with you. And it's something like that can be very difficult to navigate, right? And I feel like she's explaining here that like all those things that are wrong with me come straight into the bedroom, you know? And that bedroom is gross. It feels as if like there's this character is just like so downtrodden, empty, like a shell of a human being. And for me, the idea of being punished by love is almost like a character who's fallen in love, or like it could be like it, in terms of sex, as we've been talking about, has fallen for it, and at every single point has been punished by it, and every single point has been broken by it. If that's because of religion, which I think is quite a big theme here, that's part of it. Also maybe by other people's traumas and other people's toxicity. But what we have is a character who has been completely ruined by modern society and attitudes towards sex, you know. Right, next one. House of Psychotic Woman, all one word. Let's go. Oh, it's got a beat. I love you. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say the words I love you and it be quite so terrifying. What started off as a sound that had a bit of humour to it has become a sound that's quite stressful. It's really hypnotic, isn't it? It does actually feel like a hypnosis track, doesn't it? Like, she could be hypnotising me as we speak. Buy the vinyl. It's a good job she's chosen to wield her power for good, hey. Those little like hints of someone saying I love you is just like, yeah, like if you're in the mind of this character, right? Somebody who is an empty shell. Maybe, yeah, these are all the people who have in the past said I love you, who have ultimately failed her. And she's hyper-fixating on it. That's all she can fixate on, you know? I love the idea that this is like soundtracking the inside of somebody's head, you know? I do. If somebody got married, jilted, I do being like, you know, what you say at a wedding, another staple of Christian society. You could picture them getting married and divorced and all that kind of stuff, and maybe that being a hyperfixation. Maybe let's talk about like how women are taught to hyperfixate on romance and marriage and all those kinds of things. How long are we through this? 6:28. It's certainly fascinating, I must say. I love you. I love you. The this could be the voice of the woman, alternatively. Like just picturing like this shell of a human being lying on the disgusting bed, just like completely in a haze, maybe like drug-fueled, foaming at the mouth, and all she can say is, I love you, over and over and over and over again, you know? That's very much the picture I've got here. The psychotic woman, hey. Also more shadowy voices. The use of a voice in production is such a powerful tool for human understanding, human emotion. And what you do to that voice can really powerfully kind of change how the listener experiences the music. You know, if you have a voice that's bright and in your face and obvious, then you kind of get the idea that the person is like very honest, very open, very much there, like present. If you go the opposite way, then it's quite a powerful way to kind of like change the way that somebody listens to your song, you know? Yeah, this really reminds me of kind of immersive alternative theatre. Me and my boyfriend live in London. There's a lot of cool theatre stuff going on. There's like a theatre organisation called Punch Drunk, who do these like walk-through theatre shows, I guess. You could say it's like that, where there's something different going on at different times all over this like warehouse, and they've made it to be like a city, and you go into all the different houses and all the different rooms and stuff, and there's like strange ambient music and unintelligible sounds and people having conversations that you have no idea they have no context, and there's somebody doing some interpretive dance, and it's all completely open to your imagination as to what you get out of it and what storyline you take from it. And this approach to storytelling and sound design really reminds me of that kind of theatre, you know. And I love the way that she uses dynamics really slowly, but to the point where you kind of don't even realise that the dynamics have built up quite to the point where they have, and then they get taken away and it's like, oh hello, Jesus. God, the heaviness of that fucking bass is like overwhelming. It's almost reached some kind of fever pitch with this woman, you know. Wow. It's like crazy, incredible kind of sound design goes into something like that. Like so much kind of strange, tiny little details that I just really appreciate because it just adds so much depth and so much storytelling. And that's the kind of thing is that like storytelling can be done in a million different ways. And just because this is like a very alternative way of storytelling doesn't make it any less valid to me. I mean, I wouldn't add that song to my Bops playlist. Let's be honest. You know, but like in terms of like almost like a theatrical experience, I feel like I can really appreciate it for what it's doing, where it's taking me, what it's trying to tell me in like the kind of character that she's painting within that song. And it really takes a very different kind of creative brain to be able to kind of operate in a place like that. And yeah, I'm sure she's going to turn a lot of people off with this kind of stuff. And maybe that's why it's framed as an EP, is because it is far more like experimental. But I really appreciate an artist who has the freedom to be able to do that, because at the end of the day, if an artist is completely shackled to having to get a hit, then what freedom do they truly have as an artist? You know, they should be able to follow their muse in any way, shape or form that they see fit. And it's up to us as fans to be open and to listen to their music with open ears and to give it a go and try and understand what they're trying to say. And I've learned throughout the years of doing like this YouTube channel that like some of the strangest music on the surface can actually be holding such kind of nuggets of powerful storytelling. Like listening to Björk was one of those experiences for me where like I think I started off a bit like, what is this? It all feels a bit strange. Doesn't sound like anything I've ever really heard. But once I started getting into the albums and listening to them more and pulling them apart and trying to understand what she's trying to do there, I found some just absolutely insanely powerful things. The Volume Cure album absolutely completely devastated me. It was beautiful. And I don't think I would have been ready to understand that had I not opened my ears to something a bit more alternative before that point, you know? And so that's kind of where I'm at with this, is that actually a lot of theatre, a lot of art has a very alternative way of telling you a story. And I appreciate anything that's kind of opening my ears up even more and allowing me to kind of experience something different. And that's really what this is. Anyway, that's my little spiel on that. Yeah. So the words "I love you" obviously bouncing around. We spoke a lot about that. There was a point where everything bent down and it took something from me, something I can't quite explain. And I always wondered if it would come back and love me the way it said it was supposed to. But maybe it lied. Maybe it was all a lie. I've tried so hard to explain in words, I love you, what it meant to me, I love you, how it felt to me, but maybe it's not meant to be explained. She's talking about how she fell in love with somebody that she now describes as it, which is quite kind of monstrous, quite dark, has been abandoned and is waiting for them to come back, you know, for it to come back. Scroll down a piece of paper. Until then, I guess I'll just lie here and wait for it to come back, wait for it to love me again. Do you think you know how to give up? Do you think you understand what it means to be loved? You don't, and you never will. But I can tell you right now, it's beautiful. It's such a precious thing to be loved, such a precious, magnificent thing to be loved, such a wondrous and painful thing to be loved. When we were young, you said you wished that someone loved you. I do. 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 Obsession. Yeah, it's an obsession with love. It's, yeah, a woman who's been brought up on Disney fairy tales and fell in love and had their heart broken and is now left languishing, waiting for something to return that might not ever return. And it just so effectively paints the picture of a woman who is just completely so far gone. It's very Miss Havisham kind of vibes, left there tangled in cobwebs, foaming from the mouth, lying on a dirty mattress, saying the words I love you again and again and again, because they were abandoned and they're hyperfixating on what they'll never have again, you know? Yeah, it's fucking dark and like plays into this like indictment of modern societal relations to sex and love, you know? Yeah. Okay, next one. This is Vacillator. A drum? Wow. I love there's like loads of tiny little subtle effects on everything that just kind of add to this picture that she's painting. The dirtiness, the skankiness, every single tiny little like gated effect and distortion and whatever kind of all plays into that, you know? It certainly is like amazing to show like what story can be told, what picture can be painted through atmospheric sound design, you know? Vocals, love it. Melody. This is a bit more of what I love in terms of from the previous album. Gently, softly sung, beautiful melodies.
I like that sound you make you come 20 times a day.
Yeah, okay, hey. It's always funny because I always come up with these ideas and then I question myself and I'm like, oh no, wait, no, this is it. I love that, like real shift. Wow. Feels like we're traveling back into a memory or something, you know?
If you love me,
Maybe there's a sense of like moments of like disassociation where you're kind of lost in memory and then you snap back into focus. It's kind of the vibe between the vocal sections and the ambient sections here for me.
keep it to yourself.
If you love me, keep it to yourself.
Keep it to yourself.
It's quite beautiful, this one, which is quite sad, actually, when you think about the lyrics, you know. Cool. Into the next one. Probably the most song-like song so far, which I really appreciated, really enjoyed. Us kind of going to a slightly more tangible place, kind of grounds everybody in their listening experience, reminds them of like a first album, like that kind of style. Yeah, and those beautiful song moments were really gorgeous and actually, yeah, injected such an element of beauty that is quite kind of unexpected and like juxtaposes everything we've had so far. The tenderness of it is almost like, this is what love should be, you know? You're so smooth. If you want, you can bite me and I won't move. You won't lose me to thunder and lightning, but you could to crowded rooms. So that's talking about different, like, I guess, perverted sexual acts, right? And I say that in context of the album, not out of personal judgment. Because yes, everyone has weird things that they're into in their bedroom. And she's kind of allowing that to happen to her. There's obviously something quite dark, quite kind of painful about that imagery, you know? There's kind of a consensual thing, but given that the character, a viewpoint that we've had so far is quite dark and quite kind of indicting, as we said, I do wonder whether this is like somebody who's so broken and feels like they deserve to be punished, feels like they don't deserve like to be treated nicely, and is therefore letting this person do their kind of powerful sex fantasies on her, maybe in a way that's not actually that enjoyable for her, you know? I like that sound you make when you're clawing at the edge and without escape. Do you like that, baby? I could make you come 20 times in a day. So that's about edging and loving that, yes. Close the door, let me in. If you love me, keep it to yourself. If you love me, then keep it to yourself. There's a sense of like, let's keep this sex without any love. Let's keep it completely transactional. But the beauty in it just makes that so sad, you know? Yeah, close the door and let me in really does seem to kind of say like, we'll close the door, we'll shut out all the judgment from the outside world, and I will allow your kinks to be completely out in the open, you know, like let me in and I will accept you for those. So there is a kind of beauty in that. It just feels like the perspective of the character is kind of one of like diminished power, and therefore it has that kind of dark edge to it. But yeah, certainly I think it goes to show that like Ethel's idea about sex is that we should be more open, we should be more accepting, we should be gentler and kinder with each other and less judgmental. We shouldn't be putting taboos on these kinds of things because these are just what people feel. And actually, if they experience them in a consensual and like safe manner, then it's much better for their psychology, it's much better for their own sex lives, you know. That's kind of what I'm kind of getting from the kind of angle here. Something that I believe too. Yeah. Next one. This is Onanist. I love that like every single instrument, nothing's clear, everything's buried, and it means that like the storytelling around every single sound is connected to this like dirtiness. Yeah, it's a real kind of like amazing show off of like sound design prowess, you know, to be able to have such a clear vision and to be able to like inject every single part of your song with that vision. I like those voices. Hello. Why does this almost feel like a visit from an angel in the middle of the night? If that woman is lying there, a shell of a woman, on a bed, this could be a beacon of hope. Or maybe a beacon of doom. Whoa. Yeah, this certainly feels like a kind of tension point being released, right? It's like the kind of most kind of full on we've been so far. Wow, it's really beautiful in its own way, actually. You know, in the beginning I was talking about like post-apocalyptic alien invasion vibes. This almost feels like someone being abducted, doesn't it? Oh God, it's overwhelming. And they're gone. If there's a UFO that picks someone up and then it's like, they're gone, you know, that's the vibe I'm getting. It feels good, she's saying. Does it? Doesn't sound like it, does it? But that's kind of like, you could picture someone having sex with someone and the other person kind of doing all their sexual fantasies and her just saying it feels good, even though you know that it doesn't, you know? Yeah, oof. Oh, we're on the next one. Okay. Wow. Okay. That one really just felt like it went through quite a powerful shift. That like building dynamic, the buzzing, the overwhelming sounds, and then for it to just be gone. Yeah, really is telling me almost like, yeah, some kind of abduction, some kind of ascension. It could be some kind of ascension to heaven. We've obviously talked about religious kind of iconography throughout. There I found me in long, long wood, astray, midway of mortal life. Oh, okay, so yeah, so there's some kind of purgatory thing to this. Witness to such agony, But there, before the grace of God go I want to know love. I want to know what it feels like. It feels good. It feels good. It feels good. Yeah, so maybe it is an ascension to heaven. Maybe that's like what the sound design is trying to tell me. But yeah, certainly like this idea of like, it feels good. Connecting to the idea of sex, connecting to the idea of perversion, all those kinds of things. What feels good? How does it feel good? Why does it feel good? Do we need to know why? Do we need to just let it be, you know? And if we're just letting it be with other people, what's the power dynamic there? Do you know what I mean? It's bringing up all those kinds of questions, you know? Yeah. Very interesting, yeah. Let's do the next one. This is Pull Drone. Do I have enough time on the camera? Just about.
Apathy.
Love Apathy.
I am that I am.
I am what I am. Different vibe.
Disruption. There goes a great shudder through the muscle, through the mist. The insatiable need to see what happens inside the room.
Okay, what room?
For assimilation.
Okay, so we're counting.
Dislocate my jaw to fit it all in.
Oh, no.
Aggrandization. Send down your cordage of suffocation and to know what God knows, and I will be with him. Against the veil, I sing.
This is like meditation. But like horrific meditation. Oh, God. The shift on that word.
Good, the sinner's errand. We are not the same.
This is fucking unnerving.
Let me tell you how much I've come to hate you since I began to live.
This is like setting me on edge, this. I'm really worried that she's going to do like a Ptolemy thing and fuck me with a scream or something. We all know how wet that went last time.
The stars are as beams. Nature chews on me.
Nature chews on me. God, it's just such a visceral image. Something chewing on you. It's just, I mean, it's horrendous.
I will claw my way back to the great dark, and we will not speak of this place again.
Oh my God. I'm stressed. Desolation. I almost feel like 12 rules, 12 laws, 12 mantras.
For I am nothing.
Oh, God. Oh, this is horrendous. I'm freaking out. This is too much. Oh, it's really, that sound is like really setting me off. It's like a buzz in. Oh, it's horrible. I can't. With Preacher's Daughter, whenever I get to Ptolemy, I skip it. I just can't listen to it. I just can't. It's too much. God, we've still got like, how long have we got left in the song? 7 minutes. Bloody hell. Oh, it's upsetting me. And now we've got another dissonant string sound coming in just to make me feel even worse. Great. Oh, it's in harmony. Okay, I feel happy now. It's like an infinite scraping sound. It almost could be like a bagpipe. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like that kind of iffy in between kind of sound between, or could be, yeah, like a cello and a bagpipe. When you listen closely, there's kind of almost like a grey area in between the two. And it feels like it's sitting there because it kind of almost sounds like a siren as well, doesn't it? It's the kind of thing where you could take a siren, put effects on it like distortion and stuff, and actually maybe give it that element of almost sound like a string. It's kind of there. The moments where they're in harmony, I'm like, ah, and then they like go apart again. I'm like, that almost sounded human for a moment. I was like, oh. I'm stressed, I'm very, very stressed, so I'm gonna sing this song and make you feel better. Because it's still got, oh my God, I counted wrong before. We still have 7 minutes left. It's going on forever. I'm stuck in a time loop. Ah. Oh, bloody hell. I'm excited for Lady Gaga's new album, and I'm excited for it to be a whole bunch of bangers. Funny. A little hitch. Just, you know, keep us on our toes. Keep us freaking out. This one really is a drone, hey. It's called Pull Drone, and like, this drone has been going on for like 4 minutes. She's really pushing the limits of like what is kind of done within music at all, you know? And for an artist who found success with a kind of more classic style of songwriting. It's very brave of her to like go on such an artistic jaunt such as this, you know. I don't think many people would do that. But I kind of believe that her fan base will kind of take it on and be like, cool, good for you. You do you. We support you. I also love that, like, as much as there are lots of downsides to the streaming model and all that kind of stuff, because the most important thing is to have a strong fan base. Once you have that strong fan base, artists like Hayden can do stuff like this, do crazy stuff like this, and still they're not going to be at risk of losing their record deal. Do you know what I mean? Like, I now feel a little bit better that it's not going to jump out on me now, unless she's saving it right for the last bit. 2 minutes left of this. And now it sounds like the drone has like run out of energy, but it's still trying. And by drone, I mean the sound of the machines. Drones are named after the sound. It made it back. Great. That really upset me, that. Almost like exposure therapy to grating sounds, you know? The drone has finally died out. Finally. Okay, wow, shit. Well, that was an experience, wasn't it? Jesus. I feel like that song really pushed the limits of like what I can actually take as a listener, you know. But, you know, there's got to be artists who do that. There's got to be artists who push the boundaries. You know, we wouldn't be anywhere without artists like Björk and Ethel Cain now, who are willing to push those boundaries. And so, yeah, I appreciate it. And I appreciate that she is able to do that, you know. Right, I'm going to get into the lyrics in a sec, but I want a sandwich. So I'm going to have that first. I found out recently that apparently Ethel Cain / Hayden is a big fan of Zelda, and I just wanted to, hello, me too. Literally just came up randomly on my YouTube, like it was like an unboxing of the new Zelda Switch, and I was like, I knew there was a reason I liked you. What were we doing? I can't even bloody remember. I went and had a sandwich, and I ended up watching YouTube for like half an hour. So, oh yes, it was the one with it was the pull drone, wasn't it? Yeah. Let's have a little look through these statements. 1, apathy. I am what I am, and I am nothing. Oof. 2, disruption. There goes a great shudder through the muscle of a shimmering of bells through the mist. 3, curiosity. One quick moment to crane the neck. I have always possessed the insatiable need to see what happens inside the room. 4, assimilation. A wellspring of knowledge, of feeling, of sensation, beauty, overwhelming. I will dislocate my jaw to fit it all in. Really upsetting. 6, delineation. I want to know what God knows, and I will be with him. Sent over the edge, I sigh. Flush against the veil, I sing. It's almost like the idea of sex bringing you closer to heaven. 7, perversion. That wasn't really like when that glitched on that voice. It was like, yeah, Pavel. It is no good bearing false witness, the sinner's errand. I am what I am, but we are not the same. It's no good speaking of fairness, the fool's errand. 9, separation. I was an angel, though plummeting, the stars and beams shining through the wheel. I'm sure that hell must be cold. It says a lot about life and death, the closeness of life and death, the closeness of like being constantly on the edge of death, wondering what's next. I don't know, yeah. 11, annihilation. This agony such is the conscience of audience. I will claw my way back to the great dark, and we will not speak of this place again. 12, desolation. Therein lies sacred geometry of onanism, of Ouroboros, of punishment. I am that I was as I no longer am, for I am nothing. Yeah, the statements almost like come out as like some kind of like step-by-step kind of guide, sense of self, 12 steps towards death. Yeah, very interesting. The last bit, like the idea of the circle, I think was quite interesting. The Ouroboros, which is like the eating itself, the circular motion. And maybe like that is referring to like the cyclical nature of punishment itself, of violence, of those kinds of things, you know, which again links into what we were saying about society, you know. But yeah, like that one's definitely feels like I haven't got quite a clear picture on it. So yeah, make sure to let me know in all the comments, as you usually do, let's be honest, but make sure to let me know what you think this is about and what your overall opinion of the album is, to be fair. But yeah, this one in specific, let me know. Let's go on to the next one. This is Etienne, which is a French name, isn't it? Quite like the figure in the chords of this piano. Kind of has a bit more hope to it, you know. Melancholy, but yeah, I don't know, yeah. It's beautiful. This does feel like a moment of respite, doesn't it, this song? Because, I mean, it's giving us music. You know what I mean? Like, it's giving us melody, harmony in a more traditional sense, which kind of brings you back after that, like, 9 minutes of droning in the last song, you know, kind of brings it back slightly. Ooh, an acoustic guitar. I'm liking how this is like slowly building up. This guitar is like really felt like such a kind of soothing presence after so much kind of darkness and heaviness and like stress. It's kind of how I felt listening to like Some Bleached Flies on the last album. After like Ptolemy and stuff, you then have like a song that feels like a bit of a hug in a way, you know. Oh, this is making me want to listen to Preacher's Daughter again. I haven't listened to it the whole way through in a while, actually. I kind of picked out songs I liked, but like listening to the whole album is just such a joyous experience for me. Oh, we have got some lyrics. But again, this is like unintelligible, leftover. Maybe the concept of this album is like looking at sexuality through the lens of a post-apocalyptic future. Do you know what I mean? Building up my own storylines again.
That he didn't want to kill himself anymore.
Okay. Yeah, I really, really loved that for the fact that it just felt like a balm. The piano was gorgeous. The build-up of the acoustic guitar over top was wonderful. Again, with all the atmosphere and the just like the palpable sense of like, yeah, like that dirtiness, that grubbiness, all of that just completely there to see. It's really, yeah, it's next level, like in terms of this style, you know, it's obviously a very different style, but like she's executing it very well, you know. So he decided that the best way to end his life was to have a heart attack. He thought he could induce the heart attack by running very fast rate for a sizable distance, till his heart was exhausted and he died. So he sat on his run as hard as he could, and he ran until he was exhausted and he collapsed, but he didn't die. So the next night he tried the same thing and he ran again until he didn't, and he still didn't die. So he tried again the third night, the fourth and the fifth, and after this he'd been going for a week. He felt so good he didn't want to kill himself anymore. Wow. Yeah, wow. Huh. Almost like a parable. Very powerful. But I love how it's kind of like almost like found sounds. It kind of does have a video game element to it in the way that like you could imagine walking through something like The Last of Us, where like a lot of the storytelling in The Last of Us is done through like the scenery and these like found excerpts of diaries and whatever. It fills in what happened, you know. It's giving me that kind of vibe. So you can tell that Hayden's a gamer because like the attitude towards the sound design in this is very much like that, you know, like environmental storytelling, fleshing out a world, you know. Cool. I enjoyed that a lot, actually. Let's go to the next one. This is Thatorchia. Sounds almost like feedback. It's building. It's going somewhere. This end of the album seems to have a sense of like acceptance to it, you know, accepting the shit, accepting that like the world is fucked in a way, you know. Well, there's some voices in there, but they're so buried. You can hear the breaths as well. My screensaver has turned to like slow motion under the sea. I just love it when it matches up with what I'm listening to. I don't think there are any lyrics in this one. I'm not sure what this one's trying to tell me, you know? Yeah, I feel like for me it's got to be like some feeling of settling. Ooh, okay. Nice. There's some kind of culmination point here. Just musically, it feels like we've got to a point. Like it feels like the feeling of like, yeah, it feels like relinquishing. It's like giving in, giving your body in, like letting it all flow out of you, letting it go, you know. Wow. Cool. Yeah. That one, just like the music in it, the harmony in it really kind of gave me this feeling of acceptance and relinquishment. Relinquishness? Whatever that word is. Yeah, there's something calming about the music in that way. It's the idea of it feeling like calming and feeling settled, but you can still feel the pain. You can still feel the melancholy. It's still in there, but you're choosing to let go. That's kind of what it gives me at this moment in the album. It kind of actually therefore kind of follows a similar kind of function as in like with Preacher's Daughter, where we kind of go through the darkness and come out somewhere else. And it's like, although things aren't great, there's a choice to let go. And I kind of feel the same kind of narrative flow between her last album and this one in that sense. Obviously, this is far more abstract. Okay, before we go into the final one, this is a shout out to my patrons. Everybody's names are coming up on the screen now. Thank you, everybody who supports me over on Patreon. You make it possible for me to do what I do. Boop. And this is the year I'm going to go full time. I've decided it's going to happen. I need it to happen. And so if you want to help me get there, make sure to go support me over on Patreon. As I mentioned earlier, there are a number of bonus videos over there, including uncut versions of everything that goes up on YouTube, songs, music videos, and album reactions. Bonus album reactions every single month that are voted for by patrons, and including all the reactions that are requested in the upper tiers. There's an album request, an artist discovery request, and a bunch of song requests every single month. Yeah, so there's like loads of bonus stuff as well as getting to support me. Oh, and the video version of my podcast goes on there as well. So yeah, like loads of like little bits and bobs. And there's a lovely community of people who are all like kind of on our kind of wavelength when it comes to music, like talking about like the depth in it and all that kind of stuff. Yes, so make sure to go and check that out. The link's in the description. Thank you everyone who's supported me so far. Yeah. There's like a helicopter flying overhead and it feels like it's part of the album. It's like a drone. Okay, let's go to the last one. This is Amber Waves. Looks like it has lyrics. So that's fun. Almost sounds like wind. Almost sounds like this is outside. What makes sense? We've been inside for the whole album and now we're outside. Nice. I love whatever piano she plays, records on. I fucking love it. The piano in House, Nebraska. Oof. Fuck, it's beautiful. Oh, this might be a guitar. I thought it was a piano. I think it's a guitar. Yeah, it's a guitar. You stupid bitch, Dad. Oh dear, funny.
How much? I would recommend that you take just as much as you need.
Wow. Oh, lovely. Oh, wow. Is that a girl called Amber? Amber Waves? I thought it was going to be like waves and colour,
Days go by, time on without me, I'll be alright.
Well, it feels like it's kind of connecting to a meta-narrative throughout the whole thing, which seems to be like someone being in love and that person leaving.
Shaking the bottle. Never I want to feel many other ways to me.
Wow, this is wonderful. I really like this. It's so gorgeous. It feels like it captures a little bit of the emotion of Preacher's Daughter, but in the context of this more ambient project,
Watching love of mine leave, but I'll be alright in my amber waves.
Yeah, so it's shifted to a wave of sound, of colour.
Is it not fun?
Wonderful. Oof.
Nothing to me.
Oh, this is such a gorgeous final song. I felt like it actually kind of brings everything into focus a bit more.
You're nothing to me.
Oh, I thought that was the end. Goes on. as they all do. This album isn't necessarily very respectful of your time. I think that's what I could say about it. Almost sounds like waves in the background there, doesn't it? This kind of music just takes you off, doesn't it? Like, there'll probably going to be sections of this reaction where I haven't said anything for about 5 minutes at a time. I know some of you will be happy with that. It's nice and relaxing, actually, this. Again, my backdrop is fish swimming under the sea, so it really does feel quite nice. And considering what we've been through with this album, it does feel so much lighter, doesn't it? So much fresher. A lot of the heaviness of the production has been lifted. A lot of the buzzing, a lot of the dirtiness has been lifted. Feels like there's an element of cleaning by the waves, maybe. Maybe she was cleaned by the waves. Maybe it's in that feeling of letting go and relinquishing those feelings that she's managed to get to this point where it feels lighter and cleaner, you know? Yeah, there's definitely a sonic journey in that.
I can't feel anything.
I can't feel anything. Right at the end. Oof. Shit. What does that mean? I can't feel anything. Maybe I felt all there is to feel. Up until that point, I was like, I've got an idea of what the story is, but ultimately, maybe not. Yeah, it felt like, in terms of like the arc of the album, there's like real heaviness, dirtiness, the buzzing, the anxiety comes to a head on the pull drone song, where it's just intense drone for a very long time, really painful, like punishing to listen to. And then there's a process of, like relinquishing, letting go, moving on. And then at the end, you just have this beautiful, relaxing, calming song. And actually it feels like it reframes it. Like, I almost get this idea that like the whole album, we're like taking place within our head, within the grief, within the pain. And then something is processed. And this last song, it's almost like we're kind of outside our body. And that's why we get her normal singing kind of coming back. That's kind of what I'm getting from that, you know. I don't know what I'll take it. How much should I take? I would recommend that you take as much as you need to feel good. Before she leaves, Amber waves at me. Days go by, time on without me. I'll be all right, I'll be all right. I'll take the long way home, shaking the bottle and letting them roll. Because the devil I know is the devil I want. As I'm leaning my head back saying, take me, I ain't gonna scream. Yet here I am empty, watching the love of mine leave. Yeah, but I'll be all right. Me and my amber waves. Oh, that's really gorgeous. Is it not fun to feel many other ways? What would you do? It's nothing to me. It's not fun. In the catatonia, maybe it's true. You're nothing to me at all. I can't feel anything. So yeah, actually, this kind of actually brings the whole thing into focus. It feels like there is a story here, centrally, which is quite simple. If somebody is in love with Amber, presumably, and is left abandoned, like we talked about that earlier in the Psychotic Woman song, being abandoned, feel like a shell of a woman left stranded because the person that they loved has abandoned them. And this one actually, for the first time, actually describes what happened. Amber waves as she leaves, you know, she leaves, and this person, Hayden, Ethel, whatever, is abandoned and is in a state of catatonia for the whole album. So it's almost like we've gone through all of that feeling. We've gone through like what is going on within her head. And in the last song, she explains what happened, you know. That's kind of what it's giving me in terms of that story. How that links into the whole story about sex. Maybe it was an exploration of their sex life together as well. Yeah, I think for me, though, those are the main themes. We've got this central kind of story that pins it down of abandonment, of love. But then we are also exploring other themes, like the nature of perversion and how that kind of comes from a very Christian backdrop, and how that has actually kind of ruined a lot of people's relationships with sex. Maybe this relationship broke down because of sex, and maybe that is the reason why this whole exploration even started. It prompted Hayden, Ethel, whoever, to explore the nature of sex and how, as a society, we've gotten to this point where we have so little understanding of our own sexual beings because of these taboos that are placed upon everything to do with sex, and it all comes from the church. It's almost like this abandonment, this thing that happened, has prompted all of these thoughts, maybe in order to understand why she left, or maybe as a way of coping with why she left. It's almost like, okay, so she didn't leave because of me, she left because she didn't like what I was into sexually, and that's because of society, because of the taboos in society or whatever, maybe it's that kind of thing. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm piecing together from this album, and I really love that it's so open to interpretation in that way. And yeah, it reminds me of like some of the best kind of alternative theatre that I've experienced, like I mentioned earlier. And I really appreciate like a completely different style of storytelling. I think in terms of my listening, it's not really the kind of thing that I would tend to sit down and listen to, but that does not mean that I don't appreciate what she's done here, and I appreciate the kind of alternative way of storytelling, and I appreciate all the technical prowess within the sound design that takes us to those places. These things aren't just like magicked out of thin air. Like there's a vision here, and it's very clear and so incredibly well put together in that way, because it just takes you somewhere. And it's in the sound design, it's in like the distortions, and it's in the unintelligible noises in the background, it's in the weird droning sounds, it's in the things that go back and forth and go ooh, and all that kind of stuff. Everything all kind of comes together to kind of create this tapestry, and it's so powerful to be able to do that with sound. And I think that's like something that's just so amazing about Ethel Cain's music. Maybe when she does go a little bit more back towards pop, it will like influence that in a way and actually give us something even more amazing because of the way that she's explored her artistry in this avenue. That's ultimately where I land on this. I'm going to say my favourite song was Amber Waves in the end. It just felt like the one that was a song. In the kind of traditional sense, and I really loved it, and I really loved how it threw so many other things from the album into perspective after having heard that. I thought that was very clever. Yeah, let me know what you think of the album. I'm sure you guys have got a lot of opinions on it. I would love to see what your thoughts and theories are. If there's anything that Hayden has said about this that I should know, let me know in the comments. And if you want to watch any of my videos, my other Ethel Cain reactions and stuff, you can watch them on Patreon, or you can watch my Preacher's Daughter reaction here. And if you want to watch my reaction to the Inbred EP, it's here.